Juan Rocha was not living in isolation, and he was not hidden from society. He lived with his family in California, surrounded by people who knew him, spoke to him daily, and believed they understood what was happening to him. In the months leading up to his death, Juan showed signs of mental distress. He became withdrawn, paranoid, and emotionally unstable. He spoke incoherently at times and struggled to control his behavior. What he needed was psychiatric intervention. What he received instead was a belief that something evil had entered his body. Juan's family were deeply religious. Within their belief system, erratic behavior was not always interpreted as illness. It was interpreted as spiritual attack. According to testimony later given in court, family members believed Juan was possessed by a demon that needed to be physically driven out. They did not consult doctors. They did not contact mental health professionals. They believed prayer, force, and endurance would be enough. The deliverance ritual took place inside the family home. There was no priest, no formal training, and no supervision. What followed was not a sudden outburst of violence, but a prolonged and escalating assault disguised as prayer. Juan was restrained as he resisted. Multiple family members held him down while shouting prayers, commands, and rebukes directly into his face. When he struggled to breathe, they interpreted it as resistance from the demon, not distress from the body beneath them. As the ritual continued, the physical violence increased. Juan was struck, pinned, and pressed into the floor. His arms and legs were held tightly while hands covered his mouth and chest. Witnesses later admitted that his movements slowed, his breathing became shallow, and his strength faded. Instead of stopping, they intensified their efforts, believing the demon was weakening. His gasps for air were ignored. His attempts to speak were silenced. At some point, Juan stopped fighting entirely. His body went limp beneath the weight of those restraining him. Family members testified that they believed this meant the exorcism was working. In reality, Juan was suffocating. Oxygen deprivation was shutting down his brain. His heart was struggling to maintain rhythm. When he finally lost consciousness, no one performed CPR. No one called emergency services immediately. The prayers continued, even as his body lay motionless. When authorities arrived, Juan Rocha was already dead. Paramedics could not revive him. The scene was not treated as a religious misunderstanding. It was treated as a potential homicide. An autopsy was ordered. The medical examiner's findings were direct and damning. Juan died from asphyxiation caused by physical restraint. There were signs of blunt force trauma, bruising consistent with being held down, and evidence of prolonged oxygen deprivation. His death was ruled a homicide. During the criminal investigation, family members maintained that they were trying to help him. They stated repeatedly that they believed Juan was possessed and that the violence was necessary to remove the demon. Prosecutors rejected this defense. In court, it was established that Juan had been physically overpowered, restrained, and deprived of air for an extended period. Religious belief did not negate responsibility. Several family members were charged and convicted. What makes this case especially disturbing is how ordinary the environment was. There were no secret rituals, no remote monasteries, no locked institutions. This happened in a family home, in a modern American city, with emergency services minutes away. The fatal decision was not made in ignorance of danger, but in belief that danger was spiritual, not physical. Medical experts testified that Juan's behavior was consistent with untreated mental illness. They explained that panic, resistance, and agitation are common when someone is restrained and overwhelmed. None of these signs indicated possession. All of them indicated medical crisis. The court concluded that Juan Rocha died because his distress was misinterpreted as evil, and his body was treated as an enemy. After the trial, the case became a reference point in discussions about religiously motivated violence. It was cited in legal studies, medical ethics debates, and law enforcement training. The ruling was clear. Belief does not justify restraint that leads to death. Prayer does not excuse suffocation. Tent does not erase outcome. Juan Rocha did not die in a supernatural struggle. He died because his airway was blocked, his chest compressed, and his body exhausted beyond survival. His final moments were spent beneath the weight of people who believed they were saving him. His death stands as a warning about what happens when mental illness is answered with force instead of care. This was not deliverance. It was a killing performed slowly, loudly, and with absolute certainty. And it would not be the last.